latest trade made by the Philadelphia Eagles ought to teach us all about how to move on quickly. Just after 2 years of acquiring Jalen Reagor, the team has decided it's time to say goodbye by sending the player off to the Minnesota Vikings. In today's video, we'll be telling you all about this recent trade made by the team and what you can expect from it. Stay tuned to get all the recent updates. First up, let's see what's going on. It was announced last week that the Philly Eagles will be moving forward with what they think is the best strategy for the team in this upcoming season. But sadly, it seems their 2020 first-round draft pick, 21st overall, isn't a part of that strategy. Several reports have come forward claiming that the team has traded their wide receiver to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for a conditional 2024 fourth-round pick with a certain statistical requirement and a 2023 seventh-round pick. Well, with this latest move, there is no doubt that the team is thinking about their future, but is this really the best decision? Let's find out. It's not a secret that the player's performance has been somewhat dismal in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. During his time with the Philadelphia Eagles, he managed to get a hold of 65 receptions for 695 yards with 3 touchdowns. In his rookie season, he caught only 31 of 54 targets in 11 games, and for the rest, he ended up missing 5 games due to a torn ligament. In 2021 as well, the player wasn't able to redevelop his image and work towards finally becoming an important asset for the team. Sounds like a pretty tough time, doesn't it? The Philadelphia Eagles also shared these exact sentiments, and it seems they weren't too happy with these statistics and decided to move ahead in a different direction. This drop in performance came after his most consistent offseason as a professional, so it's safe to say that everyone was slightly shocked. Of course, at the time of his drafting, expectations were riding high, especially given that he was picked ahead of Justin Jefferson, who became an integral part of the Vikings. Isn't it ironic that now the two will be teammates? 2 seasons ago, everyone thought that the player would become indispensable to the team as a top receiver, but this dream was sadly never fulfilled. Prior to his trade, the team also signed on Houston, Texas's defensive tackle, Ross Blacklock. Apart from this, they even managed to trade away their offensive lineman, Chris Reed, to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, let's see what's next for the Vikings. Well, this decision was made by the Minnesota Vikings only 2 days after their own wide receiver, Bissy Johnson, ended up tearing his ACL towards the end of training camp. This might have ended the poor player's season for the second consecutive year, but it definitely provided a golden opportunity for Reagor. As mentioned earlier, the team already has some pretty cool players on the roster. Still, with their number 4 receiver gone, leaving behind the rookie Jalen Nailor, the executives thought that it would be best to bring in Reagor. Sounds like it was meant to be. The Vikings even let go of the wide receiver Ihmir Smith-Marsette in order to make some space for their new members. Now, there might be a lot of negativity surrounding the former Eagles right now, but his new team sees an opportunity. Their quarterback has proved to be pretty adaptive over time. Apart from this, we've also got a pretty strong duo in Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, so we can probably expect their new recruit to blend in well. Let's take a closer look at what the Eagles might have planned. It's pretty evident that there's a plan afoot, as this wasn't the only trade made by the team in a span of 24 hours. A little while before their Reagor trade, the Eagles acquired the safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson after failed extension talks with the Saints. Now, you might be wondering what role the former first-round pick will be playing with the Vikings. Ian Rapoport from NFL Network has clarified that we'll probably see the player on the roster as a returner, but he might even try out a small role on the offense from time to time. Apart from Reagor, the team has Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen as receivers and Jalen Nailor, and KJ Osborne will be playing the offense in the upcoming season. The Eagles, on the other hand, managed to sign on Zach Pascal, who was a free agent during the offseason. They also remained true to their name and swooped in on the first night of the 2022 NFL drafts, where they got a hold of A.J. Brown from Tennessee, the Pro Bowl wide receiver, in exchange for their draft picks. This, if you ask us, was a pretty bold move, but it looks like they're applying the go big or go home mindset to their games. Well, we can only hope that it works out for them. Up next, what can we expect from Jalen Reagor? The Eagles seem to have managed to acquire truly skilled individuals. With the roster filled receivers with great potential, it's understandable that things got super hard for Jalen Reagor. His chances of making sizable contributions to the score or gameplay are pretty much reduced. This is definitely why we saw the general manager Howie Roseman make a move as soon as he got the opportunity. But with an end to his lackluster career in Philadelphia with a pretty struggling rookie season, who knows? This might be the sort of fresh start the player needs to get back on track. Finding himself on his second team in his third season's definitely not a good sign for the player, but it could be his big break. With an already strong and adaptive team, it's safe to assume that there won't be much pressure on Reagor, and on top of this, he won't have any of those first-round expectations. So needless to say, we're pretty excited to see how he performs in the upcoming season. That's all we have for the wide receiver Jalen Reagor and his recent trade. Now let's catch up with some other news from the world of the NFL. First up, here's why Jimmy Garoppolo should be worried. Steve Young, an NFL Hall of Famer and 49ers legend, believes that things are getting tough for Garoppolo. The player recently got a pay cut after deciding to remain with San Francisco as their backup quarterback to Trey Lance, a first-year starter. And as for the rest of the teams in the league, there wasn't anyone interested in the player. Young thinks the player should understand that his team will keep him in a backup role, so maybe he should start looking for other opportunities. In today's quarterback-centric play, it's brutal that Garoppolo won't be a starter. With a lack of offers from other teams, it's really important that the player should up his game. Next, let's see who has to say goodbye to the Saints. With the recently passed deadline, many players found themselves without a team. Here, we'll be taking a look at the players who were cut from the New Orleans Saints. The team said goodbye to their linebacker, John Bostic, and defensive end, Taco Charlton. Bostic, as some of you might know, was a second-round draft pick in 2013 by the Chicago Bears, but it's fair to say that he moved around quite a bit. The player ended up with New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers, Indianapolis Colts, and even Washington. His 2 seasons with Washington consisted of at least 100 tackles. But now he's finding himself teamless. As for Charlton, he was a 2017 first-round pick made by the Dallas Cowboys. In his 55 career games, he has 92 tackles and 11.5 sacks under his belt. The player was on the roster for Miami, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh, but he won't be participating this season. Lastly, here's a bold prediction for the 2022 NFL season. With week 1 of the NFL 2022 season fast approaching, we've got a prediction as to who might be the strongest contender for winning the Super Bowl. Last year's playoffs proved to everyone that we shouldn't take Josh Allen lightly. The 26-year-old is just entering his prime, so we can safely assume he's got much more talent to showcase. Apart from this, the team will be further strengthening their defense with the help of Von Miller. This definitely makes them a near-perfect contender. However, there are some concerts that we need to talk about. First of all, Trey Davius White will be missing at least the first 4 games, which might just prove to be disastrous for the team. Interestingly, the team needs a stronger division which would allow them to take over their opponents fully. But with top speed and strong defense arm, it's pretty obvious that the other teams in the league definitely should look out for them. That's a wrap for this video, folks. What do you think about the Eagles' move regarding Jalen Reagor? Will the player be able to fit with the new team? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel for similar content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.